Hello and welcome again. This is Priestess Works and I am Mama Shoshana. We're doing a series of interviews with people that have some questions that they would like to ask of me about the work, being a priestess, and all sorts of interesting things that have to do with our tradition.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask my questions. I was wondering if you could talk about the power of nature in Sanse. Could you tell us a little bit about, how the work utilizes being in nature or, the different natural elements?
Okay. So, Sanse is a nature-based tradition. So everything that we do has a connection with nature. Earth, air, fire, water, the energies within nature, how the universe works, the natural order of things, how nature digresses, has a status quo, how nature moves into a state of decay, how decay causes power and energy, and how that energy turns into flow and essence that allows something to grow and develop. Okay? Basically, it's really easy. We're all here because we're a part of nature. Our body is made up of stardust. We are born and created from mud and dust and stone. And then there's the what is it that causes life? And that mystery, which we call God or the divine, is that spark that we can't explain. We can't explain how it happens. We can't look back through time. Science can't figure it out. What is it that allows life to exist? And for us, we see it as a simple mixture of inert matter, matter that has no spirit, and spirit that has no host, meaning that the energy has no matter. And together, between matter and spirit, what you have is union. And in that union, human being comes into form. Life comes into form. That does absolutely nothing for a human when they're trying to pay their bills and trying to get by in life and trying to understand how to make their life be better. However, the mystery of unification is something that we have to work for and strive to understand as priests and priestesses, because it is in that little secret that gives us the capacity to heal. It gives us the capacity to clear energy. It gives us the capacity to help people beyond what doctors and lawyers and surgeons say is possible and impossible. And we do walk that line of what's impossible, making it possible. So we are really kind of mystics in that way, but in a really grounded way. How can we apply it to the day-to-day life of individuals that just need help? All right? So the power of Vodou comes from a line that connects us to mysteries and history that is hidden, has been annihilated and forgotten all over the world. And for 5,000 years on this planet, there has been one war after another that has destroyed every spiritual practice that contains these knowledges. In our recent history, the United States itself has gone out and bombed and destroyed temples and libraries of information in Saudi Arabia, all over the Middle East, libraries of information of sacred knowledge that were hidden in secret and beautiful and contain knowledge that goes back thousands, 5,000 years in India, so on and so forth. There's literally been a wiping clean of the sacred knowledge, and even recently in our history. But where people aren't looking is in these little small Caribbean isles where we really have kept those secrets contained. And they are being verbally passed down from one generation to the next. And we do know how to help heal people so that people don't have to rely on the system in order to make it from one day to the next.
Is there a large community of people that are still reaching out to spiritual healers who maybe aren't finding help from traditional doctors or in the society at large?
I definitely think so in lots of third world countries, but I think that all over the world that any spiritual work has become fear factors have been set into place because of what it is that I'm talking about. And I think that people all over the world view spiritual work as somewhat of a evil practice or something of this nature, but it doesn't matter because when you need help, you need help. And you do what needs to be done. And it used to be that we were viewed as light workers and healers, and then people would trust us and they would come to us and they would get the help that they needed. I think that's starting to happen again, and it's definitely my goal to help support that blossoming of the spiritual worker, of being something that's viewed as positive rather than negative. One of the things that we talk about that doesn't get applied as much as it could is the difference between healing for the purpose of symptom curing and healing for the purpose of curing the problem at hand. You know, all medicines around the world cure the symptom, meaning if you have an ailment, there's a symptom and they cure the symptom. In our work, we're looking at the root cause of situations. And we have a very vast, like, is it spiritual? Is it emotional? Is it physical? Is it have to do with entities? Does it have to do with ghosts? Is it karmic? Is it past life? We can look into that and see. And there's this really beautiful treatments that we use. And a lot of the treatments use all sorts of items that, you know, nobody uses anymore. Sanse is just an amazing practice for that whole part of it that uses all of these modalities that were Taino-based, that were African-based, gypsies, so on and so forth. And we've kind of become like the library of information that holds these traditional folkloric remedies. My teacher gives me one after another, after another, after another. Here's for diabetes. Here's for stress. Here's what we did when somebody has a pregnancy and they had a hard time having childbirth and they can't relate to people anymore. What we would call postpartum depression. Here's what we use for that. Here's the song we use for that. Here's the herb we use for that. Here's how we shake the rattle for that. Here's the bells that we use for that. Here's the waters that we create for that. Here's the bathing that we do for that. Here's what we do for menstruation issues. Here's what we do for men who are not being able to please their partners. Here's what we do for people that are having a hard time getting a job. Here's what we do. It just goes on and on and on. It's a science, like a whole doctoral history that we have access to. And you hear people talk about Sanse or Vodou or any of this kind of stuff, and what they're talking about is just they know about the name of the mysteries, the name of the spirits, maybe the prayers and the services. But in our tradition, in Gade Nou Leve, we have an entire mountain, archives of knowledge for healing people that nobody, A, has taken the time to really listen to get it written down, or B, nobody in the world has sat for years and years and years and years and years and took the practice that seriously to learn all of the remedies, to learn the dances, to learn the songs. So when you're going to go learn a spiritual practice, you want to go to the person who knows the most, the person who is like the head of the university. And that's where our society resides. We reside in a position where we're not just worshiping spirits, we're literally the doctors of the mysteries. We are the ambassadors for that knowledge. And a true Sansista takes their practice seriously.